Doctor Who, Spearhead from Space, the first story of the third Doctor, is written by Robert Holmes and starring John Pertwee, Caroline John and Nicholas Courtney. This is the first Doctor Who where it's in colour, as Derek Sherwin left to produce Paul Temple's series, although he suggested the entire season to set on Earth after he introduced UNIT, a military who fights aliens. Barry Letts took over as a producer. Because the 60s Doctor Who seasons had over 40 episodes each, which tired the actors out, they cut it down so season 7 has 25 episodes. The story was going to be called Facsimile, but obviously got changed to Spearhead from Space, and it's all shot by film. The title sequence changed with Darth Vader. Shaped vortex looks really cool, even though this came out 7 years before the first Star Wars film, and with a style iconic logo, which is a great design. So the story begins at UNIT's tracking station, where that guy has tracked a meteorite, and that last thinks it's just a normal meteorite. So the TARDIS arrived in the woods. You'd be thinking why the TARDIS exterior changed just like that in the next shot. Well, that's because of dimensional stabilization circuits malfunctioning on landing side effects. So the third Doctor fell out the TARDIS and unconscious in the long grass, while the meteorite hit near a poacher, Sam Seeley, and he discovered it was a pink sphere that makes a ringing sound. Liz Shaw arrived in Brigadier's office. Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart tells Liz about the past aliens and meteorites that UNIT discovers, but Liz doesn't believe him, so Captain Monroe calls Brigadier that he's found someone in the woods and got taken to hospital. So the Brigadier and Liz arrived at the hospital, making their way through, avoiding news reports and paparazzis, and found the Doctor in bed. Although the Brigadier doesn't recognise him, he doesn't know the Doctor changes his face at the time. So Brigadier orders Dr. Henderson to take the Doctor into Unit HQ as he thinks he could be a spy, so they left. So while Unit soldiers tell Sam Seeley to push off, the Doctor kept trying to find his shoes, but the nurse kept putting him back to bed. And I just like the moment where Dr. Henderson is like, "How are you feeling?" and the Doctor said, "Shoes. I feel shoes today." So he gave the Doctor his shoes, so he grabbed the shoes off him and snuggled in with it. Apparently the reason why he wants his shoes because his TARDIS key is in there, which is a great place but must be uncomfortable, which I do say the same about Captain Jack hiding his gun in his backside. So Channing and two of his men knocked Henderson out and took the Doctor on the wheelchair and took him into the ambulance. And I thought it was pretty clever when the Doctor makes a run for it in the wheelchair. So while shooting and chasing going on, the Doctor makes his way through the woods and gets shot at. Intense cliffhanger. So after the Doctor passed out, they realise that they haven't shot him, so he gets taken back to the hospital, and the TARDIS gets taken to the Unit HQ. While Brigadier and Captain Monroe examines a sphere fragment, a lot of plastic baby dolls gets made in the plastic factory, and John Ransom doesn't seem to think that something's right, which is because a lot of staff isn't there anymore, and there's a lot of changes. Brigadier tried to open the TARDIS door, but it wouldn't let him in, and he's thinking, wrong key. Sam Seeley hides a sphere in his chest, and his wife was a little suspicious, and when he's like, "What you staring at, woman?" I was like, whoa, easy there, mate. An Auton patrolling woods with the drumming music is pretty terrifying. So while General Scobie pays a visit to the Brigadier in the lab, the Doctor walks into a bathroom where the sign reads, "Doctors only." Well, he's a doctor, so I guess that's passable. I like the Doctor singing while he's taking a shower, and you can see John Pertwee has a tattoo of a snake. I researched it, and apparently they explained that it's a Time Lord criminal tattoos to mark the criminals, which is well explained. While the Unit soldiers digging up the sphere, the Doctor got his cool outfit on. He managed to escape the hospital and he nicks the motor car. After Unit soldiers put the sphere in the jeep and drove off, an Auton got in the way and caused it to crash, which looked pretty lethal. The Doctor arrived as he got a watch to track the TARDIS down, something that Ian used in the chase. The Doctor looks at the mirror and his new face grew on him, and Brigadier wouldn't give the Doctor his key back. So Ransom goes back in his plastic factory and look inside his old workshop, and there's a few of Autons lying up next to each other, and one of them came to life and was moving towards Ransom, which leads to cliffhanger. Ooh, scary that. The third Doctor, played by Jon Pertwee, is amazing. I love his portrayal, outfit, era and chemistry with his companions. He's a fantastic actor and awesome Doctor, and he is my favourite classic Doctor. Like I said, they're all great Doctors. We really don't have a bad one. Jon Pertwee asked his agent to apply for the role, but his name was already on the shortlist, and was surprised by that. Ron Moody was the first choice, but he was unavailable, so Peter Bryan casted Jon Pertwee. Caroline John played Liz Shaw, who's the Doctor's assistant for season 7 and scientific advisor. She's a great character, very independent. It's a shame that she only appears in season 7, but she came back later in The Five Doctors for cameo, but as the illusion of her and Dimensions in Time. Caroline John was recommended to play Liz Shaw, who normally worked on stage, including National Theatre Company. She understandably got frustrated that she didn't get any television role, and apparently she took a dramatic step by taking a photo of herself in bikini and sent it in the BBC producer and ended up in Peter Bryan's office. I think you'll love that. And of course we have Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart, played by a legend actor, Nicholas Courtney. Also great to have him back, as I do love the character, especially when he tells people off for being naughty, like the Doctor and Sergeant Benton. Pretty amusing, wonderful. Hugh Burden played Channing, who's an Auton and first created by during the Nestene Consciousness' first invasion of Earth. He did a fantastic job playing a creepy villain. John Woodnutt played George Hibbert, a director of Autoplastics who created Channing while being hypnotised. John Breslin played Captain James Monroe, who works at a unit and Brigadier's assistant. Neil Wilson played Sam Seeley, who's a poacher and nicked one of those pink spheres, Auton energy. Anthony Webb played a medical Dr. Henderson. Hamilton Dice played General Scobie, who works at the British Army. Derek Smee plays John Ransom, who's a designer of Plastic Doll Factory, which later got replaced as Dummy Factory. The casts did a fantastic job with their roles. Autons are one of the iconic monsters in Doctor Who. They're actually robots that look exactly like plastic shop window dummies, controlled by Nestene Consciousness. And I love those monsters, they're so terrifying. Please, writers of Doctor Who, bring them back! As of time of recording, the last time we saw them on screen was The Pandorica Opens. So let's hope they bring him back. Nestene Consciousness are disembodied being who, like I said, controls the Autons. Brilliant story to go with the explanation. How the plastic shop window dummies come to life. The music by Dudley Simpson is great as well. So in part 3, Ransom made a run for it and Channing looked at the Auton to give it a signal to return to its place. So Ransom ran in the woods and passed out, so he got sent to Unit HQ and tells the Brigadier about the Auton. Because of Sam Seeley's obsession with reward, he gets forced to reveal where that sphere is. So Liz steals the TARDIS key to give to the Doctor, and Brigadier wasn't happy as soon as the Doctor went in, and it wouldn't dematerialise, and I do love that sound. So the Doctor is pretty much trapped on Earth as he exiled by the Time Lords. We get a dark and scary moment where Sam's wife finds Auton's meteorite, and sound of her dog got killed by an Auton. Sadly the bullets didn't work and, well, she got knocked out by an Auton. Thankfully she's not dead. So the Doctor and Brigadier goes to find her, while Ransom is alone in tent with an Auton and blasted him and his body disappeared. So after Mrs. Seeley gets taken to hospital, they realise that Ransom is gone and the tent was opened from the outside. After Brigadier phones General Scobie about the plastic factory, there was a knock on the door and General Scobie meets his replica, and I find that pretty scary. So the plastic Scobie took real Scobie away and phoned Brigadier that plastic factory won't be interfered with. So the Doctor and Liz went in the display and sees few people in there, including Scobie. He noticed something isn't right judging by his watch. So Hibbert caught the Doctor and Liz, so the Doctor lets Hibbert know that Channing is the enemy, as he's hypnotised. As Hibbert is back in the lab with Channing, he destroys the place and an Auton kills him. As everyone arrived at the factory being confronted by Plastic Scobie, the Doctor uses a device that looks like a microphone and made Plastic Scobie collapse. So after the Doctor and Liz meet Channing, the tentacle grabs the Doctor, which is effectively for low budget. So Liz took some time to work the machine and eventually she did, which deactivated all Autons, and we learn that Channing is an Auton. So in the end, the Doctor insists to work as a scientific advisor at Unit, and getting a new car as the one he pinched will return to its owner, and the Doctor introduced himself as Dr. John Smith.
Smith. Dr. John Smith.
So, that's Spearhead from space. Fantastic story, great start of an era. What did you think of this story? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, thanks for watching and see you in the next video.